Do you want to lock in what you've learned for good? Do you want to get maximum results in minimum time for exams and certifications? The answer is simple. First, understand the material. Then close the book and ask yourself this: why does it work? This slide explains it all. When you reread a book, your brain is barely working. Information enters your eyes, but the processing is passive. Cognitive load is extremely low. A feeling of, I think I know this, takes hold. But that's an illusion. With self-testing, something entirely different happens. The moment you ask yourself, can I recall this? Your brain starts desperately searching its memory network. This retrieval practice reactivates the memory network and strengthens retention. In a 2006 study published in Psychological Science, Roediger and Karpicke found that 1 week later, the group that repeatedly reread retained roughly 40%, while the group that repeatedly self-tested scored over 60%. This is a robust finding from learning science, confirmed across many experiments, and it's within your reach. First, understand the material. Then close the book and spend just 3 minutes reconstructing what you learned inside your own head. This one shift will fundamentally transform how well your memory retains information. Today, I'll show you the science behind it. First, look directly at these numbers. Memory retention after 1 week. The group that repeatedly reread, roughly 40%. The group that repeatedly self-tested, roughly 61%. How many hours have you spent rereading textbooks up to now? Much of that time may not have stuck the way you thought it would. Why does this gap exist? The cause is a difference in cognitive load. Rereading is an act of receiving information. Processing fluency is high, cognitive load is low. That's why it feels good. But learning that feels good produces weak memory retention. Self-testing is an act of retrieving information. It forces your memory network to be searched, and the effort of recalling is itself what strengthens the memory. It's hard, but that difficulty is the sign you're learning correctly. Roediger and Karpicke named this phenomenon the testing effect. That frustrating feeling of, it's on the tip of my tongue, that's proof your brain is growing. So what exactly is happening inside your brain? Memory is a network inside the brain. The connections between neurons are the physical substance of memory. And the more you use that network, the stronger it becomes. What about rereading? Information enters your eyes, but because processing fluency is high, your brain doesn't deeply search that network. It judges, I already know this, and moves on. That's why rereading alone doesn't make memories stick. What about self-testing? The moment you ask, can I remember this? Your brain begins a serious search of its memory network. That search process reactivates the network and promotes reconsolidation. This is the neuroscientific basis for retrieval practice. There's one critical point, though. When you can't recall something, confirming the correct answer through feedback maximizes the effect. Retrieval without answer verification carries the risk of reinforcing incorrect memories. Always pair retrieval with answer checking. Never separate the two. In a study published in Science in 2011, Karpicke and Blunt found that retrieval practice produced roughly 1.5 to nearly 2 times more correct answers on a 1-week follow-up test compared to elaborate learning strategies like concept mapping. Retrieval is one of the most powerful learning strategies in existence. So how do you put this into practice? Self-testing has a scientifically designed schedule. 3 steps. Step 1. Test immediately after learning. The moment you close the book, stop what you're doing. Open your notebook and spend 3 to 5 minutes writing down everything you just learned. Don't look at the material. When you're done, verify against the text. This answer checking corrects errors and maximizes the testing effect. Step 2. Test 24 hours later. The next day, do the same thing without looking at the previous day's material. When you've finished writing, check your answers. Reread only the parts you got wrong, carefully. Focus exclusively on reinforcing your weak points. Step 3. Test 1 week later. 7 days later, repeat the same process 1 more time. If at this point you can explain it without looking, consider that knowledge embedded in long-term memory. The key is to gradually expand the intervals. As Pashler and colleagues demonstrated in Psychological Science in 2007, spaced practice, expanding the intervals between review sessions, produces greater long-term retention than cramming. The schedule of immediately after, 24 hours later, and 1 week later is built on that exact design. Here, I want to confirm one critical principle. When learning feels easy, that is often a sign of inefficiency. Since the 1990s, Professor Bjork at UCLA has presented the concept of desirable difficulties. The idea is that moderately difficult learning improves long-term retention. There's a reason rereading is so popular. With every page you turn, you get a feeling of, oh, I know this and I remember this too. It's satisfying. But this is an illusion of processing fluency. I can recognize it when I see it is not the same as I've retained it. Self-testing, on the other hand, is hard. When you can't recall something, you feel anxious. When you can't get the answer right, you feel uneasy. But inside that cognitive effort, the memory strengthening process is at work. From today, question the comfort of your learning as one of your metrics. If it feels easy, that may be a sign your brain's load is low. If it feels difficult, that's a sign your brain is processing deeply. This paradox is the essence of learning. When you hear the word test, what comes to mind? Exams, evaluation, pass or fail. Most people think of tests as tools for measuring. But learning science has a different answer. Testing is the most powerful learning engine there is. As Roediger and Butler showed in Trends in Cognitive Sciences in 2011, the testing effect is a robust finding repeatedly confirmed across educational and cognitive psychology. The very act of taking a test continues to strengthen memory. Furthermore, a 2021 meta-analysis by Yang and colleagues confirmed that the testing effect is effective not only for rote memorization of simple facts, but also for tasks requiring knowledge application and reasoning. It sharpens not just memory, but your thinking power. This is the true power of the testing effect. If you're studying for a certification, open the practice problems first. If you're learning a new language, ask yourself the question before you ever look at the word. If you're reading a book, recite a summary out loud every time you finish a chapter. That said, the spacing of your self-testing intervals is critical. The key is not to cram them back to back, but to gradually expand the intervals and increase the difficulty. Tests are not something to be evaluated by. Tests are how you grow. Now, let's pull together the key points. Let's review the self-testing action plan for mastering memory. First, the clear superiority of self-testing. In Roediger and Karpicke's 2006 study, the group that repeatedly self-tested outperformed the group that repeatedly reread by roughly 1.5 times in memory retention 1 week later. That gap is produced by the amount of cognitive effort expended. First, understand the material. Then, instead of rereading, make close the book, retrieve and check answers the core of your learning. Second, the 3-stage test with feedback. Self-test immediately after learning, 24 hours later, and 1 week later. The critical point is to always pair it with answer checking. Retrieval alone isn't enough. Confirming the correct answer corrects errors and maximizes the testing effect. Make able to explain it without looking your target state. Third, make testing the center of your learning. Meta-analyses have confirmed that the testing effect enhances not just memorization, but the ability to apply knowledge. What's more, today you can use AI to automatically generate quizzes from your own notes. The tool doesn't matter. What matters is making your brain sweat. And now, ask yourself this. In your next study session, when will you close the book and test yourself? Which material will you start retrieving and checking answers with today? Share your strategy in the comments. Your action plan, your questions, your success stories. All of it becomes the collective wisdom of this community. Thanks for investing your time in mastering this today. If you want to scientifically maximize your learning efficiency, this channel delivers. We provide practical, brain science-based learning systems covering the testing effect, spaced repetition, cognitive load theory, and more. Not theory, practice. Not intuition, science. That's how we design your knowledge retention. Subscribe, and let's put the science of learning into action together next time. Turn on notifications, and your learning efficiency goes up another level every time you watch. See you in the next one.